Dear students, I have finished explaining to you the definition of the term democracy. Now, I will move on to the next subtopic, that is features of democracy. Before I begin with the features of democracy, let me revise with you what democracy is all about. Democracy, you all know, is the government of the people, for the people, and by the people. Democracy as a form of government has four features. The first feature of democracy is major decisions are taken by elected leaders. The second feature of democracy is free and fair electoral competition. The third feature of democracy is one person, one vote, one value. And the fourth feature of democracy is rule of law and respect for rights. Now, let us begin with the first feature of democracy, that is, major decisions are taken by the elected leaders. Let us take the example of a country like Pakistan. Pakistan was a democratic country, but in 1999, Pervez Musharraf overthrew the government and declared himself as the chief executive of the country, and so became the president of Pakistan. Although Pakistan used to have elections at regular intervals and would elect their representatives, the elected representatives had very little power. All the power rested in the hands of Pervez Musharraf, and he would take all the major decisions in the country, whereas those who were elected were not given any role in decision making. So, my dear students, can we say that the feature of democracy of making decisions is being followed in Pakistan? I don't think so. But in a country like India, the elected representatives make decisions in the country. So it is very important for us to understand that major decisions in a country must be taken by the elected representatives. Let us now move on to the second feature of democracy, and that is free and fair electoral competition. In a democratic country, elections must be held free and fair. No one should force or can force a citizen to vote for a particular party. But such things do happen in certain countries. A few years ago, in the country of China, elections were held every 5 years. The Chinese parliament appointed the president. Anybody in China was not allowed to contest the election. Only those members of the Chinese Communist Party and 8 similar parties were allowed to contest the election. Contest the election means only people who were a part of these parties could stand for election. People who were not members of these parties were not allowed to stand for elections. In a country like India, this is not the case. In India, Any person who is a citizen of this country and who fulfills the laws laid down by the parliament can contest for the election. In China, it was always the Chinese Communist Party that would form the government. They would always win the election. So, in such a situation like in China, we cannot say that there is free and fair elections. Also, in the country like Mexico, it was always the PRI party that won the elections. This party would win elections in Mexico because they made use of a number of dirty tricks. Now, what were some of the dirty tricks that were used by the PRI in Mexico? First one, all the government servants who worked for the government of Mexico had to attend the meetings of the PRI and were forced to vote for the PRI. The PRI is a party in Mexico. The second trick, teachers of government schools used to have meetings with the parents and force the parents to vote for the PRI party. The media also focused on one particular party. Media means the newspapers, the television channels. They focused only on the winning party because this winning party, that is the PRI, used to buy all these newspapers and buy all these channels. Buy means they used to pay them money. So these channels, these newspapers would only speak or only write in favor of the political party that would win the elections, that is the PRI. Now, if such dirty tricks are used in elections, then it won't be possible for us to choose the right leaders. So, the use of dirty tricks shouldn't be allowed in a democracy. Instead, there should be free and fair elections. The next, that is the third very important feature of democracy is one person, one vote, one value. This principle of one person, one vote, one value is being used in almost every part of the world. But there are still some countries that don't give this right to all its citizens. For example, until 2015, Saudi Arabia did not allow the women of the country to cast a vote. In some countries, the vote of some people have a greater value than that of some other. For example, sometimes the original inhabitants of a particular country, their vote have a greater value, and the people who have come and settled in that country, their vote has got a lesser value. This should not happen in a democracy. In a democracy, every individual's vote must have equal value. In a country like India, every citizen has one vote and every vote has one value. Whether you are rich, you are poor, you are educated, uneducated, you come from a high caste or a low caste, every individual's vote has just one value. Let us now move on to the fourth feature of democracy. The fourth feature says rule of law and respect for rights. This means that leaders should not be allowed to change the law as per their convenience. Every citizen should be equal in the eyes of law. The rights of citizens should be protected. No rulers should be allowed to change the law according to their needs. And the rights of citizens should be respected by the rulers and by the citizens themselves. So, my dear students, I hope you have understood the four features of democracy. Thank you.